We are a little over a week away from the Jackson State spring football game that will be nationally televised on ESPNU, I want to say. And I got 5 things that I am expecting or I'm looking forward to seeing at the real Jackson State spring game. Not the scrimmage, they had a really competitive scrimmage, but the real Jackson State spring game. 5 things that I'm looking forward to seeing. We're going to talk about them right after the bumper. Stay tuned. What's good, everybody? What is good, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. here with the Black Boss channel and Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because I upload every single day. Now, the JSU spring game is taking place on ESPNU in just about a week, and it's going to showcase a ton of things, I believe. And once again, I don't know. I don't have any inside information, but here's 5 things that I'm looking forward to seeing at the JSU spring game that I think that you can expect to see at the JSU spring game. Once again, that'll be nationally televised. Now, if you haven't watched a spring game that's nationally televised, it's different. You know, it's not a regular game. It's really a glorified practice. But JSU is coming into this 22 season with a ton of hype. And rightfully so. They won the SWAC East. They won the SWAC Championship. They went down to Celebration Bowl. They got stomped in the Celebration Bowl. I can never take that away from South Carolina State. They got, they handed it to Jackson State, especially in that second half of the Celebration Bowl, a 31-10 victory down there in Atlanta. But here are the things that I think you can expect to see at the JSU Spring Game 2022. Number one, a ton of Travis Hunter and Kevin Coleman, specifically Travis. I think you're going to see a lot of Travis. Whenever you get a 5-star to choose an FCS program for the first time ever, whenever you get a 5-star in modern day, since rankings were, recorded by Rivals 24/7, ESPN, et cetera, to choose an HBCU in the modern day, it is a big deal, and I can guarantee you they're going to feature a ton of Travis Hunter during that ESPN broadcast of the JSU spring game. Why? Because of the things I just told you. And if you haven't noticed on the JSU social medias, whether it's Coach Prime's Instagram, the JSU football Instagram, and all the stuff that Deion Sanders Jr. is doing for the team, I think he's like the new social media person. It's featuring a lot of Travis, and rightfully so, and a ton of Kevin Coleman. It actually might even have more Kevin Coleman than Travis, but it's featuring a lot of the 2 top-ranked recruits that they brought in during the 2021 cycle, right? The class of 22, they both enrolled early. They're both 4 and 5 stars. They're both are living up to those expectations as far as just from the practice footage that I've seen. Kevin Coleman is getting busy on the DBs. Travis Hunter's locking stuff up and playing some offense. It is going to feature a ton of them on the ESPN broadcast simply because one was the number 1 ranked player in high school, and then the other was a 4-star that was the first player to choose Jackson State on a nationally televised announcement at the All-American Bowl. So be sure, just know that you're going to see a ton of Travis Hunter and Kevin Coleman. Number 2 that I'm looking forward to seeing is, what does this new look offense, what is it going to look like? We know JSU struggled to put points on the board throughout the entire 2021 season, right? They had the one good game against Alabama A&M, and then they struggled to score. Like they struggled to run the ball specifically. They really, even though Shedeur had some great stats, but if we watch the games, they didn't put up a lot of points on a lot of teams. They struggled. In the games that they lost, South Carolina State, 1 touchdown. The game against ULM, only 1 touchdown. And then a bunch of other games that were really close, they weren't able to block anybody. They weren't able to run the ball. And so therefore they weren't able to put a bunch of points on the board. Shedeur still finished as a freshman of the year in the FCS. Shedeur still finished as one of the best players in the FCS, one of the best players in the country. But I am looking forward to what this new Brett Bartolone offense is going to look like. What is it going to do? What is it going to implement? I know they're going to keep it very vanilla. It's a spring game. They're going to keep it vanilla. They're not going to show us everything. They're not going to show us all the 5 wides and all the trick plays and all the good stuff. But I do want to get a snippet. I want to peek in. I want to peek behind the curtain a little bit and see what this offense looks like. What I do think we're going to see, this is just a prediction I'm going to make. I think we're going to see a lot of points in the spring game. In a lot of spring games, we've seen defensive struggles. Grambling spring game was a great example of that. Just not really a bunch of points. But I think with this game being on ESPN, with this game featuring Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, with this game featuring Shedeur Sanders as the quarterback, I think we're going to see some deep balls, and I think we're going to see some points. Once again, I think they're going to keep their offense really, really vanilla. Like, they're not going to show us all their packages and sets and all that stuff. But I think we're going to see some shots down the field. And I think we're going to see some points. This is just my prediction because they want to, one, get the country excited about Jackson State and their brand of football. And two, they want to show us, the returning people that watched a ton of Jackson State over the last couple of years, that they are going to score points this season. Something they struggled, like I said, with last year. I think they want to show that off. And if we're being honest, the strong suit that I think of Jackson State is going to be the defensive line. They're not going to rush the passer really heavy. Then there's no, they're not going to tackle quarterbacks. And the secondary ain't that great. So the secondary got some help by going out and getting a guy like Travis Hunter, but has the secondary improved? And so I'm going to find that out too. But I think, with the secondary not being that great already, and the fact that I think they're going to want to show you that they can score some points. That is why I think there's going to be a few touchdowns scored. There might be some scoreboards lit up during this spring game. It's something you don't see in a lot of spring games. Number 3 that I'm looking forward to is who will be in attendance. We know that Jackson State games are known for celebrities being there. Gillian Wallow, Troy Aikman has showed up. We've seen Leon, the actor, showing up to a game. We've seen a bunch of Rex Ryan has been to Jackson State. Just a bunch of celebrities show up to Terrell Owens, Tyrann Mathieu, just a whole bunch. Demario Davis from the Saints. Just a bunch of celebs show up to Jackson State. They show up to JSU games. Who is going to be at the spring game? Who's going to be in attendance? I love to always see who's going to show up to their games. Coach Brown is a celebrity. He has celebrity friends. He was an NFL Hall of Famer. He has Hall of Fame friends. The Pivot podcast showed up to Grambling. We know JSU's taking tabs. They're not going to let them outdo them. Who is going to show up to this JSU game? So that is another number 3 that I'm looking for. Number 4, I'm looking at the running back room. Who was going to try it out there with the first team? Is it Peyton Pickett? Is it coming off an injury, Tyson Alexander? Is it somebody we haven't talked about? Somebody I haven't talked about? Somebody I don't even know about yet? Who's going to run out there with the running backs room? Because the running backs are something that I pointed out after the season that they needed to upgrade. They chose not to go transfer portal route. They chose to stick with their guys, the Pickett's, Alexander coming off an injury, and the 38 special. I can't think of his name. I don't know why his name is. Santee Marshall coming back, and they are going to trot somebody out there. So I'm interested to see what the running back's going to look like. Once again, I don't expect a whole bunch of like live tackling, a whole bunch of blocking and pulling, and a bunch of scheme. I don't think they're going to keep their offense very vanilla. But Santee Marshall, Tyson Alexander, Peyton Pickett, who's going to trot out there for the running back room? I'm interested to see that. In number 4. That was number 4. And number 5, what does the offensive line look like? We've talked about the struggles the O-line had in 2021. That is well documented. Everybody's talked about it. Coach Prime has talked about it, and they've went out there and gotten some big boys. They have gotten a ton of new big boys, from Zach Bro to Evan Henry, Simi Moala, and a bunch of guys I ain't even thinking about right now. They went out and upgraded that O-line. Who's going to trot out there for the first team O-line? Now, we won't get to see the O-line in its full capacity. One, because it's a spring game. I don't think they're going to be rushing. They ain't going to touch. They ain't going to lay it. Listen to me when I tell you. They're not even going to breathe on Shedeur. Nobody's going to get close to Shedeur. They're not going to breathe on that man. So, therefore, we won't see a full pass rush. We won't see, and that's what I think is going to be the strength of JSU this year, their receiving core and their front 7. As far as D-line and linebackers, that's going to be their strength. So we're not going to see that in full capacity simply because they're not going to take any chances on getting QB1 anything, like nothing but, green grass in front of him and open receivers, I think. So, but that new offense line, I just want to see what it looks like. I want to see if they have a mean streak, if they're getting rough with some of those D linemen. What is that going to look like? We've already seen them fighting in practice. I mean, they put that out there themselves. The fighting is taking place. So I want to see that new look offensive line. I won't get to see it in its full capacity, like I said, because it is a spring game. But what does that new look offensive line? Does it look bigger? Does it look tougher? Does it look faster? Does it look improved over the product they put out last year, which wasn't a good one? Those are the 5 things. The 5 things I think you can expect to see at the JSU spring game and what I want to see at the JSU spring game. So it's kind of like a mix of both. 5 things. Travis and Kevin will be featured a ton, I believe. What does the new look offense look like? Who will be in attendance as far as celebrities or former football players, Hall of Famers, whatever? What does the running backs look like in the running back room and the improved O-line? Those are the 5 things that I can't wait to see at the JSU spring game. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, my name is JeffLightsyJr. with the Black Boss Channel and Victor Formation. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and shoot me DMs, shoot me messages. I respond to all of them at JLightsy7. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out, and I will see you next time. Peace.